Okay. All right. We had a little technical glitch, but we're back. We're back with Architects of Change Live, conversations with change makers who are moving humanity forward. And I'm really happy to welcome today Martha Beck, my great friend, the Martha Beck, the author, the citizen, the mother, the friend, the coach, the wayfinder, all of these things, but really she needs no introduction. And she's been a tremendous, or is a tremendous friend to me, and also an incredible guide to me on this path of life. And we were just talking, and we wanted to have a conversation today about the power to heal. And I love meeting healers, and I really believe that we're all capable of being healers. And so we wanted to talk about that, is how do you get people to believe? Because I think what the world really needs now is healing, political healing, gender healing, race healing, healing in the Middle East, healing in Washington.
Right.
How do we get people to see themselves as capable of being healers?
I think, well, first of all, we were talking about this and how I've had several doctor friends tell me healing itself is a complete mystery. Like they say, we create conditions and then the body heals itself. We don't know how life heals. We only know to give it space to do that. So I think when people see things that are painful in the world, whether it's what's happening to animals or women or, divided countries, and the idea is we need to go do something and make it heal. But no one can make anything heal. What we all have the capacity to do is to create the conditions that allow things to start healing on their own through the mystery.
That's really it's important what you just said. We all have the power to make the conditions happen. So somebody's sitting there right now, they're watching, they have fractured relationships in their family. They may have a fractured intimate relationship. They're angry at the political party in Washington. How do they begin to say, like, okay, I'm going to try a different approach. I'm going to try healing instead of raging?
Yeah, it's what Gandhi said. We have to be the change we wish to see in the world. So if you say, I want to heal the political fractures in the country, the first thing you have to do is go by yourself and find where it's affecting you. So if there's any kind of discomfort in you and then you go into the situation to try to heal it, your discomfort is going to be what transmits, and it's going to increase the problem. So you have to be the change first, and that means creating unconditional love for the part that is in pain. So there's this idea that we have to fight disease in order to heal. That's not it. We actually have to love the part of us that is stressed. And that allows this healing force to come up that is often stronger than whatever injury there is. And if it's not, still the heart heals, the soul heals, and then life proceeds as it's meant to do. Sometimes people get well, sometimes they don't. Sometimes countries come into peace, sometimes they don't. But if you're the one holding peace in your own heart, you will be part of the solution and not part of the problem.
I love that. And you were saying that really to see yourself as a healer, you begin to sit with yourself first, to try to show love to whatever that part of you that's getting angry or about at a situation or a person. And then you actually bring to the room or bring to the event or bring to the situation a different energy. And you were saying that what people who are, in need of healing really respond to is a calm, loving energy.
Yeah, there's actually research that shows if even strangers are in a room together and they wire up their brains and they sit in silence for 20 minutes, there's a property of the brain where all three of the people's brains will go into the same rhythm as the calmest person in the room. So there's this attraction that we have in our physical bodies and our souls toward peace and toward healing. But it's very subtle, and it doesn't look as big as the problem. But you see people like the Dalai Lama, who suffered the massive loss of so many of his countrymen or whatever, and he goes places and he carries this joy.
Right.
And he's like, I can't imagine the emotional healing he's had to do. But he's done it by sitting with compassion with the hurt part of himself. And I wanted to do a little exercise.
Go for it. Yeah.
Like, find something that's bothering you. Could be a physical pain. It could be a family fracture, as Maria said. It could be the condition of the world. But it's causing suffering inside you. Instead of then rushing to try to fix the situation,
With anger or rage
with
or
anger, or
revenge.
even I have the best of intentions, but I'm gonna fight for you. Well, that's just more fighting. So first, go by yourself and see where you're running from your own pain, emotional, physical, or whatever. And I had over 10 years of chronic physical pain, and this is how I healed. And I was told I would never heal, and I actually am really substantially healed, and I did it by doing this. Locate the part of you that's in pain, whether it's emotional or physical. Locate it in your body. Even if it's emotional pain, it will be somewhere in the body. And then instead of tensing against it, start taking deep, relaxed breaths and treat it as you would a small child that is in suffering. Mm-hmm. And here's the script I want you to use on yourself. Tell me everything. Tell me everything you're feeling. Tell me what happened. Tell me. I'm listening. And it could be your body talking to you. It could be your emotions talking to you. And you, no matter how painful it gets, you say, tell me more. I want to hear everything.
So that's you talking to your body.
Yourself.
You talking to your pain.
Yeah.
You healing yourself.
And weirdly, you will find that the pain starts to talk back. And it starts to tell you its story. And all you do is say, I'm right here. I'm not going to run from you. And I'm not afraid. This is breaking my heart. You may cry. You just say, I'm going to sit here with you. I am going to create this calm space so that healing begins to happen automatically. That's the only thing I know that actually triggers healing. When doctors give us medication, it's to calm the system so that it heals itself. Mm-hmm. So by doing this exercise, what happens is the pain may increase at first because you're allowing it, and it kind of balloons up, and you go through a crisis where it's extremely painful. And you have to breathe through that and just keep saying, tell me everything. I'm right here. I love you.
I think that's a great thing Martha has taught me. She also has it whenever you're talking to her and you're in a distress or something, and she'll always say, tell me more.
Yeah.
And I think that's such a powerful thing to say to another human being. Tell me more, whether you're asking your own self to tell you more or you're asking another person. Do you find that when people feel seen and heard, they feel healed?
It is literally miraculous. It is a miracle how when somebody can be in the most incredible physical and emotional pain, and when they feel like they've told their whole story, there's a visible change in them. And I see this in South Africa. People who've been through the Truth and Reconciliation, people who've experienced unthinkable horrors.
Right.
And when they've told the whole story, there's this, and you feel held by compassion itself. Mm-hmm. And that is what causes the healing to occur in any level, is to be held exactly as we are. To have the courage to hold something or someone exactly as it is, that's how you become a healer. And it can look like miracles. It can work miracles.
You travel all over the world. You do a lot of work that you're about to go off to in Africa, working with people. Where do you see the most healing that's needed? Is it in our interpersonal relationships? Is it of the land? Or where do you think it makes the most difference? Where does it start?
You know, I always start with the individual, because I was in chronic pain for 10 years. I was like in bed that whole time. And I'm like, what can I do? And the only thing I could do was accept my own condition and learn from it. And it healed my body. And then people started asking me for help. And because of the experience of my own healing, I would just hold them the same way. We just mentioned South Africa. Nelson Mandela went into prison, quite an angry young activist. And by God, he used those 27 years to become very still. And he went in, I think he just held everything with such compassion that when he came out, he could invite the guards from his prison to be at his inauguration. And everyone in Africa will tell you his personality from this cell managed to go out over the whole country and prevent this massive bloodshed they all expected.
Because we were saying that when people come at you, like trying to shame you or prove you wrong in an argument or bully you or call you names, no healing, no bridge ever gets created from that kind of confrontation, that kind of conversation. But if you approach somebody who voted differently than you, who is the opposite gender than you, that you don't think understands you, who's a different race from you, who has a completely different experience at work than you, or even in your own family, who has a completely different take on what your parents did or didn't do, etc., that if you come in with the energy of a healer, if you come in with the energy of knowing someone's in pain, and then ask them one or two questions.
It's not, the thing is, it's so simple. It's part of our inherent system, the ability to be a healing force. But it's not a doing, and we have a culture that's very about doing and fixing. You can't help someone from this energy, right? But if you want to create magic, two things. You're very still with them, and you just say, I want to know everything. I just want to know everything, and I am going to listen to you. You don't have to fawn over them. You don't have to do anything except be present and listen. And that's how the body itself regenerates tissues and stuff, and that's how relationships heal. If you've been to couples counseling, it's just two people being willing to stay and listen, and it doesn't always work out, but there's healing every moment that people stay and hear each other. And it's that simple. My son has Down syndrome, he can do it, you know?
It's that simple to sit with someone else's pain. That's not that simple.
It's very simple, it's not easy.
Yes, okay.
And it's because of our own fear and pain. So when I'm with someone and I feel the impulse to fix them, I used to just go to town on this. I mean, you saw this. It's embarrassing, like, I'll fix everything. And now I know that when I feel that, I have to stop and look inside and say, where am I anxious? Where am I agitated? Tell me everything, I say to the anxiety inside me. And it says, I need to fix the whole world. And I'm like, tell me more. Because if I don't, then I won't the people I love will suffer. I'm like, tell me more.
So you kind of go into yourself, try to understand where that anxiety is coming from.
Yeah, I don't like probe or analyze, I just listen.
And then bring your different energy to the situation.
The energy of simply being the compassionate witness. It's the weirdest thing. All you have to do is watch. I was working with a man once who was, as a child, one of his relatives was a serial killer of children. And as he started to tell me his story, I started to sob uncontrollably. And he was like, oh, I don't want to hurt your feelings. And I'm like, no, I'm not looking away from you. I want to hear absolutely everything, but this is the natural reaction of love to what happened to you. Keep telling. I'm not leaving. I'll cry. I'll agonize for you, but I will not leave you. I'm not looking away.
So if there's somebody in your life, let's just say there's somebody and you're like a Democrat and you don't like what's going on in Washington, instead of raging at it or saying, we've got to defeat this, we've got to be angry, because a lot of people I talk to say that's the only way to fix the country,
right,
to, change course, is to just beat people at their own game.
Yeah, and that game is fighting. And they say fighting for peace is like having sex for virginity. It just, it kind of, it doesn't work well.
Fighting for peace. Right?
Yeah, you can't fight for peace. So when you get peaceful, here's the thing, you get guided. You get guided in a very mysterious way to do what is most healing. And so you will encounter the person, after you've come to peace in yourself, if you set an intention to heal other things, you'll come into contact, like somebody out there might see this today, and they will be in a position so that when they come into peace and into congruity, integrity is a state of peace, the people around them, it's almost contagious. That brain state thing actually does communicate. And then that person can create a little area of peace and healing around them. And then somebody else it's contagious.
Yeah.
And I also think it's guided by compassion itself.
That's such a powerful thing if you think about it, that each and every one of us are capable of being the healers. We think we need to go out and pay or go out and search for or go out and have them lay hands on us, have them heal us. But if you actually shift it and think, wow, what I can bring to the world, what I can bring to my family, my own life, my home, is this energy of listening to somebody, of allowing them to tell their story, as you're saying, and hearing them out. And then you do that in our own country.
Yeah, I had an experience in Rwanda where I was with a guy who was my porter, and he was carrying my lunch. And I wouldn't have done this, but you were supposed to do this to give money to the economy. And I noticed he never smiled, and he had this 1,000-yard stare. And I just kept thinking, who did you lose? And maybe who did you kill? And I couldn't speak Rwandan, and we were hiking up these mountains. And so at lunchtime, I wasn't hungry, so I went and I gave my lunch to him, and he like unwrapped it and handed it back to me, and I said, "No, you." And I just held his eyes, and I just wanted him to know that that's what it is. I see you. I don't understand. I don't know what you've been through, but I'm looking. And and then I just gave him my meal and turned my back and walked away so he wouldn't feel invaded. And then after that, there was such sweetness coming from him, like something happened between us. It didn't need language.
It's beautiful.
Didn't need anything. It was just love, watching pain. That's it. That's what heals.
And that's what we're all capable of doing. So I thank Martha Beck so much for coming to talk about the power of healing, the power of healers, and how we're all healers. As I said, her book is called The Integrity Cleanse, and you're still in the middle of doing that. Give people just finally, and we're going to do more of these, but like, how can they take a step today towards integrity?
It's actually the same thing, because when you find the part of you that's in pain, it will always be part of you that doesn't feel seen. And when part of you is split or unseen, integrity just means being one thing. Like an airplane in structural integrity can fly. If it loses its integrity, it falls. So if we disengage, if we hide from ourselves or run away from our own pain, we split ourselves. And that's called denial. So by going in and saying, here's where my pain is, okay, I'm actually in quite a bit of pain. I'm really sad about that thing that happened that I've been trying to ignore. That's coming into integrity. So it's just another word for what heals us.
Right, but it's also in healing your multiple selves, right?
Exactly.
The public person that you put out, the professional person that you put out, the personal person, and trying to work towards, in small ways every day, to integrating them into the whole.
And I mean, if people have been following your story over the last 10 years and everything, I've watched you do this to such an astonishing degree. Like, everything comes in, everything is, you're the same person at home, at work, with friends, you have been in higher and higher levels of integrity, and there's been such a power that comes with that. It's not saying that, but we all have it.
Yeah, so I think the goal is really, like as you're saying, that we also think we need to go to a self-help coach, we need to go, as I said, to a healer, we need to go to our bosses, because we always give somebody else our power, right? We think they know more, they've had more experiences, and someone like Martha Beck sure has. She's worked with people from all walks of life and seen all things, but so I think it's really important to take lessons from her, to listen to what she says, but then know that that power is not hers, it's in you. Right, in you to bring to any situation you choose to bring it to. And I think that I really love this topic of healing, because it's such a powerful thing to see yourself as a healer, as someone who can heal little wounds as a mother, right, and then big wounds, because little wounds grow into big wounds when they're unattended.
Exactly.
Okay, Martha Beck, you can follow her on Instagram, the Martha Beck, that's who she is. The book is called Integrity Cleanse. It'll be coming out in the next several months when it's done. And in the meantime, she'll bring us her wisdom in the Sunday paper and on other platforms. So thank you all for joining us, and thank you, Martha.
Thank you so much.